Okay, I think it's finally working now. Okay. Now we can finally start with the actual build. Okay, let me get my reference back. And we're going to start building the shell. Once again, we are building Kris Jenner's house. If you guys haven't seen, we have built Kylie's home recently. So if you guys want to see that, you guys can check it out on the channel. It's her new home that she moved into last year or something like that. So it is fairly recent. It's really modern. It's really nice. It has about like 14 bedrooms, so even past like the real life home. So there's a lot that you guys can fit in there if you guys want to. But we're going to start off with this 50 by 40 lot. I don't want to go on the 64 by 64 lot like we did with the Kylie Jenner's home, because that took so much time and it just was a lot of effort. So I feel like this home is a little bit smaller anyway, so it's not really going to be a big deal if we build it on here. But yeah, I'm just going to get a rough little shape going on because we've wasted enough time already trying to set up this room. But I'm gonna add two here. I think it's literally just about gonna fit, you know, like it's not gonna be like there's not gonna be a lot of space on either side, but I think it fits very nicely on each end. So it's low-key something like that. I know it looks super blocky right now, but we're going to refine it and make it look a lot nicer. To be honest, it's not going to 100% fit like exactly. So we're going to have to like cut out a few things here and there. But I don't really mind that, to be fair. It's not really that big of a deal. As long as we get like the general idea down, it's not really that deep. But she has like a little balcony up here. I don't know if you guys can see. You guys can see the reference, so you guys can pretty much get like a pretty good idea of what it looks like from a top-down view. But just gonna try to get a good idea of it. I think we're gonna use a bit of a half wall for the balcony areas instead of like actual fountain. I mean, instead of actual like fence pieces. I think it's gonna look a lot nicer for this build. Definitely a lot more sleek. And I think I need to move that out one more. I'm gonna go for the gabled roofs already because I just want to get like the actual shape down properly, but I don't think I could do that without actually putting the roofs down. She has a few of these like little areas where it's like just single stories rather than just being like double stories all the way around the entire build, which I feel like is going to make it so much more easier for us when it comes to doing the interior. One second. I don't know if anyone spoke in the YouTube chat. I do apologize. There's like 2 streams going on YouTube. I don't know what's going on. There's like about 7 people on one and there's 1 person on the other. So it's a bit random and I don't know if I've missed anyone's chat, but yeah, just starting off with this nice little shell here and there. Place that over here. And I made this part a little bit too wide, so I'm just going to narrow it down a little bit because I feel like it's not really that necessary. And this build already looks low-key a bit squished here, but I feel like it's going to be fine. Like, it's not really that deep if I don't do it one-to-one, you know? So, and I really don't want to go on another 64x64 lot again because it's going to be quite drawing to deal with. But I think it's actually a pretty good shape, you know, like for the exterior of the home. It makes it look really interesting when you have so many different compartments like this. Let me add these roofs real quick. If worst case scenario, it doesn't really look that good, like I don't capture the 100% essence of the home, we'll move on to the like a bigger lot. But for now, I think we're going to be fine over here for now. I'm gonna make this a little bit more taller just so it like peaks a little bit. I'm gonna copy the exact same roof here. Dragging it over. You know, this middle bit actually goes out quite a lot, pretty much throughout the entire like spine of the entire build, which is quite cool. Usually you don't really see a really long, ridiculous looking roof like that, but I guess you do in this home. It kind of has like an L-shaped design to it. I have a few other reference images. She has like a lot of like outdoor, indoor environments and stuff, which looks quite cool. I think we can play around with that. You know what, we might move on into the 6x6 lot. This might be another one of those really big builds, because I don't want to like rush it and then like, you know, not make it perfect, you know, because I'm trying to go for like a real life one-to-one sort of thing, design. So let me just add this little room over here real quick. I think we could definitely do with a bit more space, but I just still want to get the general shape down here real quick. We also got this little half roof action going on here on the second floor, right down here. And it kind of reminds me of like a farmhouse low-key with this like really long half wall over here, and she has like these little supports and stuff around the edges. I'm looking at a few reference images in case you guys are wondering, so it's not just one in particular, so I might have like a bit more of like an idea of what's going on. So if it looks a bit confusing, there's quite a lot going on with this build, I can't lie. You know, that middle bit actually looks quite big in The Sims, like low-key. It's a little bit too wide. It's 6 as well. I feel like it kind of does better with like uneven numbers, like odd numbers, so we're gonna go for a 5 instead of a 6. And I think we're gonna move this in a little bit, but then like poke out the like side bits if I can. I think, you know what, just for the sake of it like actually coming together, I'm gonna add a bit of the columns and stuff here and there, just so like we can get a general shape of what's going on. Should I add that in the corner, or is it too close? I'm not really that sure, to be fair. And then since we did that little area like that, we can potentially move this out so a bit more space in the center bit, because I did actually take it away initially. And I think I'm gonna incorporate this on the top as well. It's pretty much like the same thing. I'm gonna just lower this a little bit though, so you can see the actual wall of the roof. Just gonna move it back quick. And I think we could do the same thing with this little area. I know there's like a few extra little weird bits here and there on this side of the build, but there's actually quite a huge like empty area over here. Obviously we're at the end of the lot line, so I can't really do that. So let me just do the rest of the build and then we can figure out if we want to move to another lot. But for now I think we're quite, it's not too deep, you know, like it's fine, it's not really that big of a deal. Let me look at my other reference images real quick, because I need another angle of this build. Okay, I got a much better angle of this side now, so we're going to just focus on this real quick. So it kind of just like goes in a little bit, and instead of going that far in, let me just move it back one, just out one, and I think can start creating like the little back area, which is like an L shape, which is quite cool actually. And then like Loki comes out from over here a little bit. Push that in a little bit though because it's a bit wide. And I think that is not that bad to be fair. I think the shaping of it is pretty good. I'm gonna move it in a little bit. I'm gonna do the exact same thing with this little area. I'm just gonna add a little roof, place it in, and it looks a little bit small, but I think that's like literally what it looks like in real life as well. So actually we can make this a bit bigger. And her roof lines look really nice, so I think we're going to try to just raise this up a bit, or not. It's not going to match. I'm trying to make it look seamless, but we'll do that, but that looks a bit weird. I don't really have any other option to be honest right now, so we're just going to keep it as it is. And then let's see what else we got. So we got like a really huge balcony. Actually, wait, hold on. I feel like we could make this part a little bit bigger, because it's going to be like a whole individual room, you know, so we want to make sure we've got enough space. Why the hell is this poking out? Hold on. I think I did a mistake. There we go. Okay, sound like this. And then she has like a whole huge balcony over on this side. Place some walls real quick. It's already looking quite complex, I can't lie, and we literally just started. We might lower this to the medium wall height actually, because it kind of just like makes a little bit more sense for this home. We can make this one a medium if we wanted to. But I feel like there's not really that much of a reason to be fair. But you know what? I'm still going to do it for the sake of it just like looking grand. Going to extend this part a little bit because it's going to need it. And this is going to be like a little like extra bit of room, I guess. I mean, I wanted a bit more space in between this area, but you know what, we might as well just do that to be fair. I'm going to move this in, and then we're going to create a little compartment over here. We can create like a little sauna outdoor like spa area here, some type of thing where like you can like do some like yoga mat training and stuff like that. I think it would be pretty cool. And then let's see, we have another little compartment over here that kind of just like matches the same size of this. And we're finally going to be using a different roof piece. What is this one called? The half-dipped roof. Okay, we're going to be using this one for this little area. But we're not going to use it the entire way. We're only going to use it where we see the wall. I'm going to lower it down a little bit. We're instead going to use this like little half wall thingy on this side. I mean, at least this is what the real life home has. I don't know. I'm not really doing it like because I know something. It's because I just see what I'm just like building and stuff. I think we can move this over. I want it to like blend nicely, but it's not really doing that. I mean, we could do this. Actually, wait, that could be a pretty good idea. We could do that. There we go. So it kind of just like blends in nicely. Obviously, it doesn't right now, but we're gonna adjust it here and there. There we go. That's actually not that bad. It actually works very nicely in this little corner. And now I think there's like a little compartment over here as well. We only have like one tile space over here, so it's kind of just like it's a bit tricky to work with this, to be fair, because we don't have a lot of space. So, but if anyone in the chat like thinks we could go to like another lot, I mean, I don't really mind, to be fair, but we'll see how it goes. I think it looks pretty cool already. It's kind of like matching the image, but I feel like we definitely could be using up a bit more of that extra space. But I just feel like it's going to be take so much more time to complete the home. We have like another little room over here based on the reference image. It's like a little bit smaller and not all the way out. This part is a bit weird. Oh wait, you know what? She has like done like this that matches this little apartment over here. It low-key matches it just a little bit. Let me move it up a little bit. No, but then it hangs out from here. A bit weird. But I mean, I don't really have much of an option. If I just move that out there. I mean, that's not really that. It's not. So just gonna move this all the way out because that's pretty much it. What the actual build looks like as well. And we're gonna do another one of these little rooms on the side. I know it looks a bit weird right now, but we're gonna refine it and make it look a lot nicer eventually. See, like if I worked on a bigger lot, I probably would have made the space a little bit bigger. But I know I'm complaining a lot about size, but I feel like I try to make my builds really realistic and like to the point where it's like at least as close as it could be to like a 1-to-1 scale. So that's kind of just like why I'm a bit concerned, because I feel like people would also want something that is really close to scale as well. But it's looking pretty decent so far. Also creating some of these little rooms over here. I mean, I don't know what this little room is going to be, but to be fair, we could move this entire lot towards the front a little bit, because there's not a lot of like front yard area type of situation. Like she doesn't have like an insane driveway or anything, you know, so we can make use of that space. And then now that just basically gives us the opportunity to move this out a little bit. I think we can just move this all the way out over here, and that kind of just like gives it like a nice unique little shape, which is pretty cool. And I just noticed this little thing over here, it actually doesn't have that. It has one of these. What are these called? This one's a hip roof. So just move this all the way out like this. So that's a bit weird. Like I don't like how it has that straight bit on the top. So we're just gonna lower. See, it still has that like little straight bit. I want it to be exactly like this, so it's like pointy, because that's how it is in like the real life home as well. So instead of doing that, we're just going to go back to what we just had initially, because I think that worked a lot nicer. And I think that is pretty cool. Like I like the idea of like this home being like kind of just like its own little oasis, and it looks super like high end as well, like already, which is very nice. We have a very huge swimming pool that is kind of just like in the center of this lot, which is also going to be quite fun to like play around with. We could create like fake stairs and stuff leading into the pool and whatnot, which I think is going to be pretty cool. Hold on, I need to actually look at my references, because we're going to focus on this side now, which is a bit worrying. There's a lot going on, but we're going to figure it out. Hold on, wait, I think I need to change my references real quick, because we're working on the back. Yeah, okay. I have a very nice reference of like these little back end bits when she was actually initially building the home, which is quite cool. So we're gonna move this out a little bit. Kind of has like a weird farmhouse design to be honest. Like, I know I said that recently, but it really does look like one. It reminds me of it very nicely. Just two of these here. Feels like one right here and then another one of these like little gabled roof pieces, and they barely touch, but we don't really have a lot of space, so I'm gonna just try to use it wisely. It's low-key the same size, so it's not really that big of a deal. I'm just gonna keep it as that, and we can just move this in a little bit. That just gives a bit more space for this room anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal. We also got like a pretty cool looking half wall design over here as well. It's like a little balcony area, but obviously it's like on the ground level, and it's going to be quite a hazard here, quite worrying, but we'll figure it out. We'll end up changing it like as we go, but so far I'm just like trying to stick to the original design. So yeah, now for this little corner bit over here, we have quite a cool looking design here, to be honest, because it kind of just like has, it's kind of like a little compartment where it's like indoors outdoorsy type of vibe, you know. So we're going to try to replicate that, and of course can't forget to also incorporate a nice little room over here as well. Move that in. I'm just going to extend this out just a little bit. You know what? I think we're going to move it in by one, because we're going to also add a few rooms on the side. And I don't want it to look like it's a little bit too much, you know? I'm just going to add this little bit over here, and then we're going to add a half roof. And it looks like it's covering up a lot, which I don't want, so I'm just going to lower it a little bit so it doesn't take up too much space. And obviously I need to change the size of these columns later on, but that's kind of just like a latest issue. And you know what, I think this little front area needs to be a bit more over this side, but I don't think it's that big of a deal right now, so we're just going to leave it as it is. And we don't have this little area here for some reason in the real life home, so we're just gonna keep it like that. And then we're also gonna incorporate a little roof area over here, which I think is gonna be really cool. It's kind of just like a mixture of like a single story and a double story home. Quite a lot of it going on, to be honest. And we have this really huge extended area here, but yeah, so far we got like this huge amount of a footprint. So let me know what you guys think in the comments or in the chat, what you guys think about this like huge amount built so far. I think it's looking pretty cool. It's coming out along very nicely. I noticed that at the front of the build it's like a gabled roof, but then towards the back she has something else that's like completely different, something like this, and then she just extends it over. I'm talking as if she built the home, but I feel like it just makes it a little bit easier to explain what's actually going on. But yeah, something like this, but it's not really matching up that nicely. Maybe we can like, there we go. I think if we just like extend those like roof pieces, it looks a little bit nicer. And then we also have like a little balcony area over here. I don't think we're gonna have a lot of space to incorporate that, but still pretty nice nonetheless. It works for the Sims, you know, so it's not really that big of a deal. And wait, hold on, I need another reference because I need to look at the other side of the home. There we go. Okay, So this area of the home is kind of just like I think it's a garage area. Obviously we don't have cars in the game, but we can just like turn it into like a fake garage or like a gym area. So just like trying to make it function in different ways. So something like this, and then we just get rid of this little area. So this will be where we have the garage. And let's just incorporate this little roof over here. I'm gonna move it out over here like that, just so it covers that little tile that we have down there. I'm gonna move it in a little bit. It kind of looks a bit squishy, but I think it's gonna be fine. Like, it's not really that deep. I'm gonna move it in a little bit one more. But yeah, I'm literally at the edge of the lot, which kind of sucks. So I'm gonna push that in a little bit. Does that look a little bit weird when it's like one tile out? But I feel like that's kind of just like what it looks like, so it's not really that big of a deal. And we're gonna just extend the eaves out for this part. And I also want to incorporate a little balcony over here. Even though it's not going to be that big, it's still something to incorporate into this build. There we go, something like this. Nothing too special, it's just like a little area, which is going to be fine. And I know the roof doesn't go all the way down like this, so we need to figure something out else for that. But what can we do over here? I think we're just gonna add a little room like this, and Loki just extend it out and do the exact same thing at the bottom. This part isn't meant to be connected to this, but because we have no space, I don't really have like much of an option, so we're just gonna add a bit of this here and there. This could be like a nice little area for like a balcony or whatever, or not a balcony, sorry, like a bathroom, especially if it's like relatively smaller. But for the bottom level of it, let's see what we can do over there. I think we need to add a, hold on. There's like a really wide, let me see. It's quite boring on this side, to be fair, in the real life home, because we got someone that goes like this. And then we low-key have like a balcony area over here. So instead of just replacing it and just like turning it into balcony, I'm just gonna cut it up real quick. And I'm just gonna place. She has some relatively modern looking fence pieces. So we're gonna go for these ones from businesses and hobbies. I wish I had a bit like of like some additional like pole thingies like in between some of the rails, but I guess this will do for now. You know what? We can actually make this just one more tile bigger. I don't know, help. But you know what? If I do that, that means I have to change the entire thing, don't I? Yeah, that's going to be quite annoying. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Oh, I just started a recorder in an accident. I literally always press the V key for some reason in this game. I don't know why, but always end up recording some random stuff and then I just see it months later. And then we're literally just going to replicate, maybe not the same fence pieces all around. Oh hey, what's up? I don't know if that's how I say your name, so I do apologize, but hey, welcome to the stream. You're not late at all, to be fair. We've only been like, it's only been 43 minutes. It's fine. But yeah, so we're building the Kris Jenner's home, and we decided to stick on the 50 by 40 lot. Well, I say we, but I decided to stick on the 50 by. I was just like, you know, I can't deal with another huge 64 by 64 lot. I've been building them so much recently, so I've just been like, you know what, let's just stay on a smaller scale for now, and if we want to just like scale up later, we will. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to just like work on a little build, and I say little, but this is going to be like so many bedrooms once again, which is going to be a nightmare to furnish. But I think it's going to turn out very nicely. I really like the shape of it. It looks super complex, and it kind of reminds me of like builds that I currently do already. And I know people who obviously follow me on TikTok and whatever, they love like these really complex looking builds. So yeah, I hope it does really well as well for you guys. There's like a little empty area over on this like middle bit, but I mean, we don't really have a lot of space, so we could actually move this like that, something like that, which is not that bad. And this is kind of just like an indoor outdoor area beneath here. And she has some really cool columns on the backyard area of this build, like around here. So kind of low-key reminds me of these ones with like the stone textures on them, because this entire build for the exterior mainly consists of like a lot of stone, a lot of black sort of like concrete materials, and a lot of wood as well, to be fair. There's like quite a lot going on. So you know what, kudos to the builders, to be fair, because like it's quite a lot like to do with all of those materials and stuff, and especially with having like her daughter's home like right next to hers. I probably won't build that one. It's probably not that interesting out of all of the sisters' homes. I do apologize for saying that, but I still feel like this one just like stands out a lot more than the other one. But I'll probably eventually end up building all of them, to be fair, because I know people do like using them in their games, especially in a game like Sims where people just like love doing like roleplay stuff. Well, not roleplay, but like, you get what I mean, like just like playing celebrities. And we're just gonna add a little wall over here because it makes the roof seem like it's floating. And hold on, I need another reference because we're gonna work on the backside now, because I want to make the backyard look as nice as possible. So it low-key like protrudes out over like this. But I don't want to do that, to be fair, or do we? And then we could just extend this little balcony area. That can actually be quite cool. So just like add even more footprint to this home, because it definitely does need it. But the main reason for this was because I wanted to kind of just like add a little wall over here. And you know what, we can actually keep this part a little bit like open. So I want this all to be like connected space, you know, for the backyard area. And I think we can just add another one of these columns here. And we can add one on this side as well. I don't know if we want to add it everywhere, but it's just like, just add a bit of support here and there. One second, just like looking at the reference images to see if I'm getting it right. But we do actually have, you know what, this front area looks a lot bigger in the real life home, so I don't know if I should extend mine, like maybe just by like one. I know I literally just did it because I didn't want it to be uneven, but I don't know. We can actually wait, hold on, this little random bit, just move it back. Let's add a nice little, actually wait, let me just save real quick, because this game has a tendency of crashing. So Let's not waste all that progress that we just made. But yeah, I pretty much always save to the local client or whatever it's called, like the local library, because I just feel like it's a little bit easier than just saving your game. Like the saving your game sometimes doesn't save your terrain textures and stuff, which is quite annoying. That did actually happen to me once before, so just want to like mitigate as much issues as possible. I don't know if they still fixed it or if it's still a bug, but it does happen often here and there, so I just want to make sure it doesn't happen for this build, even though we haven't actually placed any terrain yet. But yeah, it's kind of just like a habit. And I always hate how this slot in particular has these weird sort of like yellowish greenish grass areas. I know they try to make it look a bit like realistic and stuff, but there's like these like really harsh lines and stuff that just doesn't make it a lot of sense for this build or for this like lot in general. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. I try my best, you know, I just look at the references, see how it goes. But yeah, just like going along with like the references and just like hoping for the best, to be honest. And if it doesn't, then I just move on to another build, you know. They have like a nice little stone roof or like fireplace thingy. I completely forgot the chimney. There we go. Yeah, I literally just forgot the name of it. But they have like a really nice chimney on this side of the build that I want to try to incorporate. And then once we add like these smaller little details here and there, we can finally move on into adding the what was it called, the actual wallpapers and stuff like that, which is going to be really fun, because this build just like has some really nice like a really nice color palette. There we go. Just gonna use like a little half wall just to like cover up the base a little bit, and I'm pretty much just gonna copy this entire thing. I don't know, yeah, it probably won't copy the entire thing, but we'll just add one over here as well, because especially since this part of the roof area looks a little bit boring, just want to add a bit of details here, to be honest. And we're going to do the exact same thing to, where are we going to do that? I think it's over here. Wait, let me go to one of my other references. Yeah, it's pretty much like right over here. I know the ones in the reference image look a little bit more modern, but it's fine. We're gonna figure it out. And I think while we were adjusting the back area of the build, we kind of messed up the front, but it's not that deep. We'll figure it out. What did I do? Why is this like that? Anyway, we'll just leave it as it is for now. But let me just copy this real quick. There's a few other modern options for the fireplaces or like the chimneys that we'll go for later on, but right now just like kind of just like using these as a stencil, you know. Change the color of these because we're definitely not going for a bright color scheme for this home. We're going for something that's a little bit darker, just to match like the exterior of the build as well. And this part of the build, I feel like, yeah, the front area of the build, it doesn't necessarily, oh wait, this is the side that I'm looking at right now. I have so many different images open in front of me, so I'm just like getting confused here and there. But yeah, I need to move this back a little bit, so this kind of just like stands out a little bit, which is kind of cool. But for this front area, hold on, I need to fix that because I wasn't like that initially. Let me just extend this out a little bit. And now I'm realizing that this is a little bit too big, so we're just gonna make it a little bit smaller. And you know what, I low-key want to have a bit of space on this side, so we have like one tile at least. So I'm going to move it back just by one, and we're also going to move this entire room by one as well, just because I want to have a bit of space on this side. And just move this part a little bit as well. And then just place it right here. There we go. I think that is pretty much it for like the entire shell. So I'm pretty happy with it, to be fair, even though I didn't actually get it one-to-one because it won't fit on this lot in particular. I'm still like, I feel like it still has like a really solid shape going on for it. And once we add a few of the actual textures and stuff, it's going to come alive very soon. So let's just do that real quick as well. Let's just add a few of the colors and the textures, and of course some of the windows here and there. I am looking at a few of the images when they were actually like constructing the real life build, so I don't have like a full complete version of the build, if that makes sense. I'm kind of just like going off of what is available online. Hold on, wait, let me just move this in a little bit so it doesn't go into like the balcony area, but then we have this like little gap area, but we'll figure that out later on. Let's just focus on adding some of the wallpapers and textures and stuff for this build, and I think we're gonna go for some brick textures in certain areas like it is in the real life home as well. So I think we can go for something like this, something that has like detail. See, this one's from Growing Together. It's pretty cool. I like this one. It kind of like matches the style. It looks very busy, and I feel like the real life home one also looks very busy like this one as well. And I think we're just going to extend that all the way up towards the roof, and we're going to do the exact same thing for this like little area as well. So any compartment that kind of just like pokes out from the main structure of the build, we're just going to add a bit of detail here and there like that. And we're going to do the same thing over here as well. And you know what, in the real life home it doesn't really look like this. There's like a little bit that pokes out, so we might have to fix that. It low-key looks like that, so we might as well do that as well. Let's just copy that. I mainly did that just to like save space, but I feel like just to get like the front area of the home at least to be one-to-one, just want to make sure that it looks as close as it could be. And if we don't like this stone texture, we'll end up changing it later on, but right now it's kind of just like a solid start to work off of. And she has like this really like sort of black shed almost design towards like, hold on, wait, let me just add that real quick. Does it go all the way out like that? It doesn't, so we're just gonna move that back in. Oh, Elephantine, hello. Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for the support. Honestly, you are an amazing support. I appreciate you so much. But yeah, welcome to the stream. I feel like it's turning out very nicely as well. I'm really happy with it so far. I mean, it's not 100% one-to-one, but you know, it's getting there. Like, it's looking pretty good to the actual reference image. I know this little roof area looks a little bit wide, but you know what, it is what it is. You know, it's gonna work for this build hopefully. Actually, you know what, now that I'm thinking, we can actually just move this back. I'm sorry, I don't know why I did that. I wish we didn't move it. We could just go back real quick. Oh, I appreciate that. I'm so glad you joined. I hope it's not boring. I mean, I haven't really streamed. I'm new to streaming, so like I don't know like if I'm entertaining, if I'm talking too much or not, if like the music is too loud or not. Like, I'm just experimenting and see what happens, to be honest. But yeah, thank you so much for the support once again. I'm really happy that you're here. But yeah, just gonna make this build look as nice as possible for you guys. I know it looks a bit weird right now, but we'll figure it out. For the walls, we're gonna go for, I don't know what kind of texture she went for the walls personally. I think it looks like a really matte concrete, but at the same time it doesn't. Like, it kind of like looks like it's like a garden shed. Like, it has a really weird texture to it. If only we had bigger lots right next door. Yeah, exactly. I've honestly Henry Bendel, I hope I'm saying your name right, but I agree with that comment. I wish we had bigger lots. I've been wanting that ever since like the Sims actually released, to be fair. Like, I know you can create worlds and stuff in like the other games and stuff, but I personally would have loved bigger lots, not because I want to build like even bigger homes, but just stuff that like connect together. Like, if we can create like a little fake city or like a village or something like that, it'll work so nicely if it came with like royalty and legacy, with like creating different like castles and palaces and stuff all next to each other. It would have been really cool. But unfortunately, we don't have anything like that. So, I mean, it took them 10 years to get a stairs update. So, I mean, we're not going to get anything for the lots anytime soon. But, you know, we have to be like appreciative of what we get, I guess. So it is what it is. But yeah, I think we're gonna go for these eco lifestyle ones in particular. See, this one in particular looks very nice. I know it looks quite like, it might look a little bit basic, but I'm sure it's gonna work very nicely for this build in particular. And you know what, if it doesn't work out, we'll end up changing it. Like, it's not that deep. So let me just add this here and there. It's pretty cool. I've never really went for like a completely black design for like the wallpapers for the exterior, so it's relatively new to me as well. I have done a few black exteriors here and there on my previous build, but when it comes to this home in particular, it is a relatively bigger one, so there's like a lot more that's going to be like dark, if that makes sense. So just gonna have to make it look as visually appealing as possible in different areas. Let me just extend that out a little bit. Let me move this in. Push that out quick. That's a little bit. See, look, this is like roofing nightmare here. It looks a bit weird, but I think you know what. Actually, I'm making it more complex for myself. I could literally just go back and just, there we go. Prices averted. And I'm just gonna do the exact same thing all over the place. You know what, that is actually pretty cool. Like, considering that it's all black, I think that looks very nice. I currently just turned on my shaders in case you guys are wondering what the difference is. I use reshade in case anyone is wondering, and I just really love the overall look that it gives to the game. I don't really use it for like playing. I don't even like play the Sims normally. I tend to just like build in it, but when it comes to like the visuals and stuff, I really do enjoy like creating reshade designs and stuff for this build in particular, or like for this game in particular. I just feel like it looks really nice, especially with the Sims built-in lighting. Now, when it comes to the windows and stuff, it's going to be a bit worrying because all of the images are kind of just like far away. So it's kind of tricky to see what's going on and stuff, but we're going to do our best and just like try to get something down for this build. I'm just like double checking some of my reference images just to ensure that I did actually get the shell as best as it could be for this lot in particular. There's a few stuff that I kind of just like missed out on like this side of the build, but I feel like it's definitely not that big of a deal, especially since this is not like that major, like big of a home. And I feel like it's not really worth going to a bigger lot just for this side of the home, if that makes sense. But it's gonna add a few of these things around like the edges where there's like these like white bits and stuff, because I don't want it to like poke out a lot, because as you guys can see, it contrasts quite a bit. And I'm surprised the Sims never gave us anything that matches nicely with like the walls and stuff. At least like make these like little bits become like color swatches, like customizable like color wheel or something like that, just so it matches a bit nicer with the rest of like the home. But we don't have anything like that, so we're gonna go for the next best option. And I'm just gonna paint some of these little roof pieces with a bit of white here and there. And I completely forgot that we left this area a little bit empty, but it's fine. We'll figure it out. Just gonna add one of these over here. If it doesn't look weird, we're just gonna keep it. If it looks weird, we'll remove it. You know, we can actually do something like this. Yeah, that's actually not that bad. It matches very nicely with like this like gabled roof piece, but we also want like gabled roof design. So it's kind of just like a win-win, to be fair. And I might actually raise... Should I raise it up? Oh, it kind of just like cause an issue for the rest, so never mind. And completely forgot about this, so let me move that back in. And for the roof itself, right now it kind of looks a little bit bland. Oh, hold on, wait. Let me just save real quick because I don't want to lose any of the progress that we just made. But yeah, how's everyone's days going? I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. What is it today? Today is a Thursday. Yeah, completely forgot for some reason for just like in a second, but hope all of you guys are having a great Thursday. And tomorrow's a Friday, so maybe I'll stream again tomorrow, but I'll be releasing a video, like a normal video on the channel. So if you guys are interested, you guys can check that out tomorrow. But it is going to be another build that we actually created on the live stream. I believe it was a small little build that we created on the live stream a week ago or something like that. So, or was it this Monday? I'm completely forgetting my days today, but it will be out tomorrow. So if you guys are interested, you guys stay tuned for that. It's a nice little small little like greenhouse, sort of like greenhouse haven vibe type of build that I'm really happy with. Actually, it kind of just like turned out super cozy, which is not really my style. I obviously tend to build a lot of these like more mega mansions and stuff. That's a bit weird, kind of just like how what this. I know I placed the wall here just like so it looks like a. Hey urban guy, thank you so much. Masterclass, yeah, exactly, free masterclass for you guys, but how to build on this. But yeah, I hope it actually is educational. I mean, I don't know how educational the Sims could get, but it's fun, you know, like to build stuff like this in the Sims, I guess. And you know, you guys can learn something new, who knows. I mean, you know what, I really want to show, or at least like create a video or something based on like how I do my custom roofs, because I know a lot of people in the community hate doing custom roof designs, and to be honest, I really enjoy doing it because it just makes the build like look a little bit more interesting, you know, like it accentuates it, just makes it look so much more different than like an average build that you would see on the gallery. But yeah, I'm looking at this the roofing textures so far right now, and I'm not really seeing anything that special with it, to be honest. It looks like the one that we already have, but just like in a different color swatch, you know. And obviously we ain't got something like that. We have this like pitch black one, but this ain't gonna work. Like that doesn't contrast very nicely with this build. But I think it's coming along very nicely together besides the roof, which we're gonna tackle right now. You know, this one's pretty cool. This one's from Snowy Escape. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have Snowy Escape though, so we're not going to use this. And what are these little, they have like little T design. Kind of just like, I don't know why that's funny, but kind of just have these like little weird designs on it. We're going to figure out, maybe we can use these ones from Businesses and Hobbies. This one's pretty cool. This one's not that bad. I mean, it's really dark, but I don't mind it. Like, it's fine. Like, it's okay. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys want something else? Do you guys have anything else in mind? There's her roof lining is kind of just like, I don't know. The shingles are just like really flat lines, and we kind of only have this, and these are like really thin and they're going the wrong way, you know. So we have this, but this is also a little bit too wide, you know. Like, actually, wait, hold on. This is not that bad, you know. This one's pretty good. Or am I just being ridiculous? You know, when you like notice something, or like when you like something and then you show someone else and they're like, definitely not, you know. I feel like it's one of them moments, but it's not really that bad, you know. Like, it's not that deep. What do you think? It's actually not that bad. It kind of like blends in with the home pretty nicely. I mean, you know what, maybe it blends a little bit too much, no? We need a bit of contrast. We're also going to fix the roof edge pieces themselves as well. We're obviously going to change the colors of them. I believe in the real life home, they're literally pitch black. Like, they literally match the rest of the home. We can go for these ones. No, these ones, sorry. The square one. I always pretty much use the square roof trim and the beveled roof trim. The beveled one I like a lot more when it comes to smaller builds, because it just like makes it pop a lot more. And then this one just works a little bit nicer when you're trying to create something that feels complete, if that makes sense. I don't know, I use it in all of my builds and it just works very nicely. The rest of these are just like, if they ever clip through the wall, that's the only time that I consider using them. But besides that, I don't really touch the other ones, to be honest. But yeah, I'm just gonna add these all the way around. And I don't like how we can just like place these roof edge pieces accidentally in between. So just gonna be careful of that here and there. And here, I think in the real life home, there's like a little balcony area over here, like a little terrace sort of situation. But I don't think we're gonna be able to do that for this build in particular. So, I mean, it's a little bit big. I mean, it's a little bit small. Like, we're not gonna be able to do much with that. But we do also have a few balconies here and there as well, so it's not really that big of a deal. I think once we add the windows to this build, it's definitely going to make it stand out so much more. Oh, and I completely forgot to add some of this white wood trim towards the back end of the build. And I think we can slowly start adding some of the windows and doors and stuff throughout this entire build. There's a few images where like the back of a home has like a really bright wood texture to one of the walls, but I don't think that's permanent. I think that was like temporary. Okay, let's add a few of the windows and stuff and the doors. So let's move on into there was a recent base game update that was super handy, I feel like, to pretty much any single user of this game, because it's just super handy when it comes to just like being able to create with these HBD sliding glass doors. They work perfectly for like the modern type of home builds that I tend to create. And I noticed that all of the windows throughout her home also feature like a black framing around it, so pretty much this entire home is like blacked out. So yeah, I feel like there's not really that much detail going on. Oh wait, I completely actually forgot. Hold on. You know what? This roof might actually not work for this build in particular. We might actually have to change it, because I'm looking at it and I'm just like noticing that it might not be the best option. We could go for this one. This is a little bit more clean looking. If anyone wants to add their 2 cents, I would love to know what you guys think. I mean, I really like the lighting that is on this roof piece though. I don't know, I'm quite like, I'm puzzled between the two. I like both, I don't really mind them. Oh, we can actually do this one as well. Oh wait, this was the one that we really considered. We can go for a grey color swatch then. Or is that too, is it standing out a little bit too much? That is way too bright. And that's way too dark. I feel like there's never an in-between when it comes to this game. It's always one or the other, you know. This actually looks really cool. It kind of like gives like a warehouse vibe. Obviously we're not going to go for this, but I like the design that it has with like the fake broken windows and stuff. No, we can go for this one. This is pretty much one of my go-tos as well, this metal piece, but I think I'm gonna just go back to this one for now, because I feel like this one definitely does stand out a lot more. The roof piece was hiding. Okay, we also need to incorporate solar panel roofing. Solar panel roofing. This one? Or did I just read your comment completely wrong? Wait, which one's the solar panel one? Oh, I have no idea. But I do personally like this like sheen low key. Wait, were you on about this one though? Because this one's pretty cool as well. I do actually use this one quite a lot. I don't know, I really like the lighting on that one. Like this one in particular, it kind of just like brightens it a little bit. It looks pretty cool. Wait, let me just put another little roof piece over here. By the way, I don't have a clue if this if the live stream is what is it called? You know, when it's like the delay, there we go. Because I didn't actually set it up. I actually have something else that automatically sets it up. So it's like, so you're able to go on. Hey, you found me on Twitch as well. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you could, yeah, I appreciate that so much. How did you even find me? Oh, probably from the link that I provided in the description, essentially. Or you might as well just gone out your way. I mean, either way, thank you so much. But she has a really weird roof design over here. And it's kind of just, hold on. It has like a different roof texture to it. But yeah, if there's a slight delay with the stream, I do apologize. I don't know if it's on my end or if you guys haven't, like, if you guys scrolled back and stuff. Something like that, like this little like shingle roof. It kind of makes it look like this part of the home was broken and they just like attached the little roof piece. But it just adds a bit of uniqueness to the architecture of the build. But yeah, it's my first time streaming on YouTube and Twitch at the same time, and my Twitch is basically brand new. I've never really streamed on Twitch ever before. So yeah, if you guys want, you guys can drop a follow, because I'll probably like start doing like multi-streaming, just like seeing how it goes. I don't even have like a proper schedule yet for my streamings yet. I'm just like seeing what works for me and like my timing and stuff, because I want something that is a bit appropriate for like everyone, like for the viewers, for like the same people who watch me and stuff, and obviously for myself as well. And I don't even have anything set up, like a little alert thingy if someone follows and stuff, so I do apologize for that. But I'm relatively new to all of it, and I literally spent all of my time trying to create a little like the stream is starting sort of overlay thing, which kind of like took quite a while to do, but I'm like really happy with it now, so I don't have to like play around with it anymore. Let me just adjust these real quick, and then we're going to move on into adding some of the windows. I do apologize if it's taken a little bit too long, but I mean, we strive for perfection over here, you know? We try to go for the best looking quality stuff. Also, people over on YouTube, I don't know if it's the case for you guys, but apparently there's like 2 different live streams happening on my channel right now. Like there's 2 individual ones, and I don't know why. Gonna have to figure that out later on, but I do apologize if you guys have said anything at all in like one or the other and I haven't said anything or replied, because I probably haven't seen it, which is very unfair. I'll fix that the next time I actually do go live, because that is quite annoying. But I think we're going to start slowly moving on into adding some of the details here and there. So we're going to use the exact same sliding glass door over here, but since we're going to be using a smaller one on the second floor, we're going to go for something that looks a little bit more grand on the first floor. So we're going to go for this one, which is also another one from the base game update. Let me find it real quick. Also, I will be creating another base game home sooner or later for you guys, because I know a lot of people do love the more base game appropriate or like standardized homes. I also want to try to do some more like pack limited or specific type of build, because I notice myself how like I create a build and I don't actually use like I would use a pack, but I'll only use like, let's say like a plant or like a specific like little clutter piece from it, and I feel like it's not really that necessary. It just adds unnecessariness to like the pack amount that you need, if that makes sense. So I'm going to try to limit myself on that in like the upcoming like new builds and stuff like that, just to ensure that it's a bit more compatible for everyone else who's like planning to download and like play within my build. But either way, like if someone downloads a build of mine and they see like 1 million packs being used, it's not necessarily that, but it's more so the fact that like there's a few like clutter pieces here and there that I use that, you know, it's not really that deep. You know, if you guys download it, you guys won't be losing out on too much, which is good. Like you're not really gonna like miss out on anything. Let me just move this real quick because I wanted to do this initially, but I was working a little bit too much on the roof back then. But there we go. I moved it back to so it could be like a 6-tiled one. Oh, I actually need to extend this out a little bit. Let me also extend this out a little bit as well and add this fence. Yeah, there we go. And over here we're going to just incorporate, wait, you know what, we're going to do one of my favorite little tricks as well, which I've seen so many people on in the Sims community do in general. So I don't know who is to credit. I'm obviously not the first person who came up with it either, but it's kind of just like a nice little way of creating some like wooden beams around the area of the build, which is really cool. Which, if do I remember how to do it? Hold on. I think we need to use the glass roof piece over here, and then we're just going to use something like this, I think, to like create some sort of fake wooden beams and stuff within the interior, which is really cool. I love this design. I think it just gives it some sort of like craftsmanship type of build design aesthetic. Let me just move it in just so it doesn't. Oh wait, I think I need to push these in so that I can only extend. Oh, wait, now I lost it. But yeah, most of the time when I crash in the Sims is usually when I do roofing stuff. So I'm kind of happy that we haven't had any issues like that lately. But yeah, there we go. Something like this. And I think this is going to just like give it a little bit more extra detailing that this home is really lacking, as you guys can really see with that really dark detailing that we have on the exterior. And let me just lower it a little bit. And for the main sort of spandrel bit, we're going to just add this, and I literally just gave it away. We're just going to add a spandrel. Something like this one. Horse ranch is pretty good. I don't really like how it has the edge pieces like this, but there's not really much that we could do with it, to be fair. So I'm just going to stick with it for now. Or could we go for something else? This is pretty cool. I like that one. It kind of matches the wood tone that we also have on the roof as well. So it's kind of just a nice little win-win. So yeah, we're going to go for that. And I think in the real life home though, they did go for a darker color scheme. So we're just going to do the exact same thing. And I'm going to be using the grown together one, which sucks because I feel like not a lot of people would probably have this either. It's not really that necessary, to be fair, the grown together expansion pack. I don't really like any of the build items personally. It's just like not my style, to be fair. But yeah, there we go. I think that looks really nice. It definitely does make it stand out a lot more. And you know what, just because I don't like the extra little detailing that it brings, that looks pretty nice. And I think we're going to also extend this out a little bit, push this in. I don't know. Roofs cannot be placed in enclosed room. I'm trying to get rid of this like little roof piece over here, but it's clearly not letting me. What if I move it back completely? Hey Violet Pixie, thank you so much for joining. I really do appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. Just building Kris Jenner's home. I don't know if it is actually Kris Jenner. It might be Chloe's, but I think this one is Kris Jenner's and then the one next to it is Chloe's. I feel like literally nobody asked for this build, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to build all of their homes because I feel like they just look really nice and aesthetic. And I went into one of like the Instagram posts that was kind of like promoting the construction of their homes, and everyone was just like complaining in their in their comments saying like nobody needs a home this big, this is so ridiculous. Obviously like the real life one, not the Sims. But I was like, you know what, if someone has money and they want to spend it doing a huge build like this, go for it, you know, like it's your money, your choice, whatever. Like obviously you could spend it in a more meaningful way and do some other stuff that is going to be probably be a bit more beneficial, but I mean, it is what it is. People are going to just do whatever they want with their money. If we're going to go for the snowy escape windows over here, we can't fit 3 unfortunately, so we're going to go for 2. We can go for a smaller window actually, something like this, but we're still going to be able to only fit 2. We don't have like the perfect window that's going to be able to like fit 3 along this wall. Oh really? Thank you. You know what, to be honest, I personally don't really like Taylor Swift's build, like home, not like my build in general, but like the home. I just feel like it looks weird. I tried my best with it. I wasn't really that happy with it, so I do apologize if you didn't really like it that much. But I enjoyed building it, but it just wasn't giving the vibe that it was kind of like meant to give, at least in The Sims, in my opinion. I just feel like it didn't really look that good in The Sims, but I still really like it nonetheless. Like it's not like my worst build, so yeah. But yeah, I really do appreciate the support. Thank you so much. I completely forgot actually when I built that. It's been quite a while since I built Taylor Swift's mansion. Maybe I'll build another one if she buys another home. I actually personally really like the home that she grew up in. There was like a TikTok that went through like all the mansions that she like lived in or whatever, and there was one in particular that had like a really nice elegant exterior to it, like the mansion that she grew up in. Oh, you really liked it? Okay, I'm really happy to hear that. See, that's the thing, like people have different tastes and stuff, so I'm just here to offer the build to you guys, and you guys can play with them however you guys want, you know. But I'm really happy to hear that. Thank you so much. I'm literally stuck on this little window bit here. I'm so sorry guys, but you know what, I think we're just gonna go for the Snowy Escape 2 windows for now, because we're just spending a little bit too much time on this. And you know what, to be honest, I pretty much always spend the most amount of time when it comes to my speed builds on my windows. That's pretty much something that is like the most time consuming. And of course my what is it called, the floor plan as well. The floor plan is a nightmare for me, to be honest, because look at this, like you're telling me I have to turn this into a workable floor plan that someone is not going to complain about the kitchen being on one side and then the living space being on the other. You know, like there's so much to think about when it comes to like a floor plan in The Sims, especially when you're focusing on like creating something that is a real life home and then you turn it into a Sims 4 build. Have you thought of doing Santa Barbara's ranch? You know what, I'll consider it. I'll see what it looks like. I've never heard of that build before, or like home in general, but I'll definitely take a look at it and consider it, because I do love taking suggestions, so I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. I will look at it after the stream and definitely consider it, because I do obviously take people's like wants and stuff like that into consideration when I'm building my future build. So yeah, I'll definitely look into it. But in case I'm just like judging it based off of the name, the ranch thing, I have built a ranch recently. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you to like check it out. It might not be your style, but I'll eventually move on into creating your suggestion, for example, in the future as well. So yeah, thank you so much once again for that. You know what, the rest of her home is kind of like, it's a little bit tricky to see where she has everything, so I'm just going to go off of like what I would expect from this home, if that makes sense. But yeah, so most of the time when I like build in The Sims, I pretty much like go on Pinterest and I just like try to recreate something, or just like try to take inspiration from it. So that's like where I get most of the like ideas and stuff for my build. Oh yeah, no worries. It's not pressure at all, don't worry about it. I really love taking suggestions, like literally. I obviously want to know what people who play the game like with like a lot of legacies, or like who actually play the game properly what they want, so that I can actually like provide for them. It just makes it a little bit easier, to be fair. It's kind of just like a bit more of like a win-win for all of us. Especially since I know a lot of people hate building in The Sims, which is very understandable. Like, it is quite annoying to build with it sometimes. But obviously, it is very enjoyable here and there as well. For me personally, I really enjoy building. Like, I have so much fun. I could do it all day. Obviously, I can't, but because it gets really tiring and tedious. But yeah, just like try my best. Okay, so I think I want to be able to place these like more thin windows in between, but I don't think we're going to be able to like fit it. Like, it's not going to look nice. I don't know, do you guys like that? It's not that bad, to be fair, but I wish we had like a bit of extra space in between. And you guys can see that there's a little plant here. I add like foliage and stuff like that here and there off of the lot, because I just feel like it looks a little bit more nicer, especially in a world like Del Sol Valley, which is like really plain. I feel like this world needs an update, I can't lie, but they're probably never going to do that. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, she has a little outdoor seating area on this side of the home, which obviously just basically means she has some doors and stuff here. So we're just going to place this over here. We're going to move this corner. There we go. It makes it nice and little symmetrical. And I know we haven't finished with the windows and stuff, but I want to place a few stuff around the entire build right now. Just so we can get a bit more of like a clear idea of the build overall. Just going to add a few of these floor pieces here and there. Build CC mix. I actually don't use any CC in any of my builds, in case you guys are wondering. It's not that I don't like using CC, it's more so because I just want people to like easily be like accessing my build without having to like, you know, wonder where each CC piece is. And like, if you end up deleting any CC piece, you just, you know, you miss part of the home. So I just don't want that to happen. So yeah, I just don't use CC in my builds, but I will actually build a CC home in the future eventually. I don't know, we'll see how it goes, but I have a lot of plans. I like have a lot of projects and stuff in mind, but can't really do all of them because building takes quite a lot of time, you know, so especially when we're building something this big. She has another little seating area over here, so we're gonna do that. I hate how this little like the grouts in between all these tiles are kind of like off, but I mean, I guess we're just not going to use it, you know. I'm going to use this one instead. I don't want it to go like be all the same, but I mean, if the game's forcing me to, I guess we shall. This wall seems to be empty, so we're just going to leave it as it is. And this area of the build as well, it kind of just like looks as if there's like a little compartment here that we can't build because we don't really have a lot of space. So I feel like this is looking so basic though. Like, I know the home itself is basic in real life as well, but I want to make it stand out a little bit, you know. Do we move this out a little bit? That could look pretty cool. We can also try to experiment with, wait, let's just filter with a different, let's just see what other options that we have for the black walls and stuff. We do have something like this. This is a bit more, yeah, exactly. And there's that reason as well, like people's computers can only handle so much, so just like trying to make it feel as optimized as possible for everyone's PC and stuff. This is pretty cool for adventure weight. It's pretty nice. Personally want something that is a bit more plain though. See, look, I like this brick, can't I? I really do like that. should we stick with the bricks, or should we stick with the plaster, sorry, or should we go with the bricks? Doesn't really matter for me, to be honest. I don't really mind either of them as long as you guys like it. I feel like the bricks do look pretty cool though. But you guys can let me know what you guys think and I'll adjust it based off of that. I'm gonna add a few of these businesses and hobbies windows over here. And once again, she has a lot of these really basic looking windows all over the place. Which, I mean, obviously they look so good in real life, but in The Sims it just doesn't correlate that way, you know. Like this top part is completely empty, but then this part is full. But in The Sims this looks like it's an incomplete build. You guys get what I mean? Like it just doesn't look doesn't look normal. So I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the top as well. Personally, if this was like up to me, I would actually change it up a little bit. I would actually add a few of these floor to ceiling glass windows. I know once it's released, a lot of people hated them, but I personally think these just give you the opportunity to make luxurious homes look very grand. Obviously, I wouldn't cut it in between like the roof like this, but you guys get the idea. Like I would make it look as interesting as possible. That actually isn't too bad, to be fair. I might actually leave that. And instead, I'm going to add these okay, fine, we're gonna go for the bricks, I guess. I think they also stand out a lot nicer as well. Like you said, they definitely do feel a little bit more fancier. Where is this from actually? I think this is from Royalty, so I hope you guys do actually have that pack. Otherwise you guys might have to switch it back to the plaster. But I mean, the plaster still looks really good either way. Where's the plaster from? The plaster is from, I think it's from Eco Lifestyle. Yeah, this one. Plaster style. I actually used that plaster style in all of my like first ever builds I ever created in The Sims. Well, not first ever, but like whenever that pack came out, I literally just used it back to back everywhere because I really love the design of it. But yeah, I agree. I think this brick texture is going to look a lot nicer over here. Let me just change up real quick. There's still so much like wall space and like so much footprint that we have to cover, which is crazy. Let me just check the time real quick. Yeah, okay, it's a little late, but I'm still gonna go because I feel like there's a few people watching, so I'm just gonna stick around a little bit more. I feel like a lot more people come when it's like when it's nighttime for me, just because of like different time zones and stuff, and people just watch from all over the place. Oh, I didn't even notice that you made a mistake. It just read in my mind, you know. I was like, yeah, definitely. But yeah, I definitely do think this one is a much better option. And for my garages, even though I know it's ridiculous to have a garage right on this side where it like faces the wall and stuff, but we're still trying to go for that realism, you know. So we're going to try to stick to that. And I really love using this door in particular. This one came from Snowy Escape. It's just super handy, you know, when it comes to creating like a ridiculous looking huge driveway area. And it kind of like looks like one of those more modern garage doors, if that makes sense. I mean, obviously it definitely wouldn't even function as a garage door in real life because it will be way too thin. But you guys kind of get like the point, you know. It looks a little bit like a garage door, so we're going to stick with that. And to add a bit of differentiation, I wonder if we should hold on, let me get rid of that, because it's going to look a lot more interesting just by having this alone rather than covering it like this, you know. So this versus this, I feel like this definitely does look a lot nicer. Oh, okay, so from the USA, nice. Yeah, I feel like a lot of my viewers are from the USA, so kind of just like have to work off of that, because in the UK I believe it's like around like 5 or 6 hours ahead the UK, so there's just like a lot of preparation to be done ahead when it comes to like videos or shorts and stuff like that. But Yeah, the royalty pack is not that bad, to be fair. I know there's a lot of reasons why you probably wouldn't want to get it. I 100% agree. But yeah, Adventure Weights has pretty good wall options as well. I mean, there was actually one in particular that we saw. I think it was this one. This one's not that bad either. Wait, not that one. This one. There we go. This one's not too bad either for this home in particular. It kind of looks like a wall decal that you would have in like a shed, or like an outdoor, or like an at-home garage area, or a gym. But I feel like it definitely still would work in this build nonetheless. And there's so many other black brick options in the game, so it's not really that big of a deal. This one's actually really nice as well from the fitness pack. This one's also, oh wait, this one's really nice from Cottage Living, but once again it looks like a bit more of like the plastered one unless you zoom in. But yeah, let me add this door real quick because I've been circling around the entire home for a while now, and I haven't really added the front door. So let's just add something that looks really fancy. This one came from the base game update. I really like this one in particular. Has some really nice details. And you know what, since it's accessible by everyone, why not, you know? And especially since it, wait, I haven't actually noticed that before. There's like a little, I think that's just like from the texture from the Sims in general, but there's like this really weird sort of like rusting to I don't know if that's rusting, like if that's a texture on purpose, but it's kind of just like what it's reminding me of, which I feel like is not fitting for this home. But I really don't want to go for something that looks like this as well. This kind of like looks super glam and like very high end, which I know obviously makes sense for the Kardashians, but I'm not sure. The brick enhances the house appearance. Yeah, 100% I agree. The brick definitely does make it look so much more interesting. But then again, it also does remind me of like the brick on brick, and I don't know if I wanted that, but I'm really happy with the end result of it. I think it definitely does look so much better than the plastered one. The plastered one looked a little bit too flat, a little bit too simple, so I 100% get what you're saying. But yeah, once again, from Texas, everyone's from the USA, you know. I literally dreamed of going to the USA, to be honest, when I was younger. I really loved the USA. I pretty much grew up on like watching a lot of US people, so I kind of just like really enjoyed that sort of like lifestyle and environment. But I'm pretty content with the UK for now, but just have to adjust those time zones, you know, to make it work for you guys and for myself. Let me add one of these sliding glass doors on this side as well. I like modern black, grey, white home, brown exterior. Yeah, 100%. See, that's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of people who play The Sims might not, which is gonna sound weird, but like, I feel like a lot of people who play The Sims, they obviously like my homes, but like, I don't create it in like a really traditional style, which I feel like a lot of people love in The Sims. I love creating like these more modern homes because, as for someone who I always go on tangents when I see a comment, so I do apologize. But I like talking and like explaining stuff. So like, I look at like real life homes, right, and I see like the comments and like what people see and like renovations and whatnot, and everyone's always complaining about like, why did you change this like really old traditional looking home to like something that looks super modern? And I'm just like, bro, this looks so nice. Like, what do you mean? Like, how can you not like a really nice modern home? Like, I get it if you don't like a white on white aesthetic or whatever, but sometimes, don't get me wrong, some white modern sort of designs and modern home builds recently, especially in the USA, because I look at them a lot, they are very hideous. Like, don't get me wrong, I do agree with that, but there's a lot of nice modern looking homes. So I feel like the modern home slander needs to stop, you know. There's so many nice homes around the world that are like super modern, and obviously it's like a preference as well for everyone, so everyone has like their own designs and styles. Also, you have been to the USA, I mean the UK. Yeah, I personally, even though I've always lived in the UK, I've never really been to Manchester or Liverpool. I really wanted to go Manchester actually, or like even towards like just like more north, because London is like south compared to like the entire country. But yeah, I feel like it is like a really nice location in Manchester personally. I've never been to Liverpool either, to be fair, so can't really say much on them, but they probably all look like the same anyway. So even if you go Manchester or London or Liverpool, they all look the same, to be honest. At least to me, there's not really much of a big difference. They're all just like red brick homes everywhere, just like a lot of corner shops and whatnot, just, you know. But I really love the UK countryside personally as well. Obviously, another issue that I actually have is like, let's say you were like super rich or whatever in the UK and you wanted to buy like a really big home. Obviously there is like quite a few available, but like not to the extent where it's like available in the USA, you know, like because you guys have so much more land, you guys have the opportunity to make like huge mega mansions. And like in the UK, you would look at like a $5 million mansion, $5 million or $5 million or pounds, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. You look at that value of a home and you'll be like, this is like nothing compared to the USA, which sucks. But I mean, there's not really much that we could do about it. I'm complaining as if I'm gonna buy a $5 million home next week, but you get my point, you know, like it's a relatively small country, so there's not really much going on when it comes to like the house market. But there are a few rare odd ones out there that look very luxurious and nice. But yeah, while I was rambling, I'm just like thinking of what I can place around these builds. I low-key want these sliding glass doors on these sides. You know what, if I had more space, I'll turn this like little area into like a little mat, like sauna type of situation over here. But we ain't gonna have that much space here, so unfortunately we're just gonna keep it as it is. But we're gonna add a lot of these sliding glass doors because I was thinking we can have some type of like hallway that leads you down here. Oh wow, Violet, you have been to quite a lot of countries, so you must love traveling. I personally love traveling as well, but just haven't gotten around to do it yet. I feel like that's something for like a later goal, you know. I feel like it's not really that feasible for someone who's like just like starting out in life, if that makes sense. But yeah, that is a lot of countries. I would imagine Italy being very beautiful. I mean, I would love to visit Italy and Greece too. And to be honest, I really enjoyed Germany as well. I feel like a lot of people would like say like, oh, I wouldn't want to go Germany, but personally I was like, bro, I want to learn the language. Like, what do you mean? Why do you not want to go Germany? I feel like it's such a cool place to go. I feel like it's really nice, to be honest. And Mexico too. Yeah, I would love to visit Mexico. That would be a really nice vacation type of place to go. Finland, all I've heard about Finland is like they just live a happy life, you know. Like I feel like they're just not involved in anything, they're super chill and they just like have a nice life, you know. Like they're just not involved in anything. Like must be nice for them. I'm a cabin crew. I love looking at how's the go Germany. So nice. Oh wow, cabin crew, very nice. Germany, so nice. Yeah, exactly. I feel like maybe I've never been personally, but I'm guessing like Germany might have a lot more like historical type of stuff. I personally only wanted to go because there was I think there was like a theme park there that was kind of like big. So, and I really like going like to theme parks and stuff, so that's like that's like one of my main reasons why I wanted to go to Germany in particular. But I mean, besides that, obviously I did actually like the country and like the language itself. I don't know why, but I just feel like it was kind of cool. Like I really liked it. I just found it interesting out of the other ones, to be honest. But yeah, let me just add a few more windows here and there because I'm rambling quite a lot. Wait a minute. Oh no, I got confused because I was like, wait, hold on a minute, didn't we change the roof? But we didn't, we just stuck with this. I feel that rambling got to my head. But no, I'm joking. I love the engagement, you guys. That's what counting inside USA traveled. Love. Still there from when great grandparents. Oh wow, okay. Personally, I feel like the UK is, I don't know why. Maybe you guys can explain why if you guys haven't been to the UK, but a lot of people come here as a tourist and I don't know why though. there's nothing to see. I'm sorry, but there's absolutely nothing. Like, you can go somewhere else and get twice the value of your money, if that makes sense. I mean, it's not even about monetary sense, but I'm just like speaking in that term, you know, like, I don't know, like the UK is nice, don't get me wrong. It has some very nice places, but if you love the cold, you're by all means welcome. Like, it's pretty much cold here most of the time, so you have to get used to that quite a lot. And I feel like a lot of people who actually live in America are like in the warmer climates and stuff like that, obviously, so they're not really like used to it, so it might be like kind of like a cultural shock for them in particular. But yeah, you've been traveling around a lot. I hope you like enjoyed it a lot. Like, you probably seen so much and experienced so much, which is really nice. I really don't understand people who, like, obviously I'm someone who loves staying at home and like just like being super chill, but like I also really like the traveling aspect. You know what, in her home, I'm getting off the, I love how the topic has turned into traveling, but just gonna side break for the build right now. Her real life home has literally just grass all the way around the home, and I wonder if I should also do that, because I feel like for The Sims I tried to make it look a little bit more interesting by adding a bit of like detail here and there, some like walkways and tilings and stuff. But the real life home is literally just like this green grass all the way around. It's probably fake. Nah, there's no way that actually could be fake, because it's quite a big footprint. I'm looking at the real life home. I think it's the one that I'm literally yeah, it's the one that I'm, never mind, it's not. The one that I'm showcasing on the screen right now to you guys is like the unconstructed view, if that makes sense. But once it was fully constructed, there's like a really huge green patch of grass outside, and I'm wondering if I should keep it as like the exact same thing, or just change up and like add some tiling and stuff around the entire build to make it look and feel a little bit more complete. So like, let's say around the swimming pool area, there's no tiling around it, which is a bit odd in my opinion. Like, there is, but like it's not enough, especially for The Sims. People will complain. I mean, if we've known Sims players for a while now, they love a bit of complaining here and there. And it's kind of like all the way out towards the edge of the lot, which is kind of cool. But I want to take that into mind, because I want to add a bit of like grass and greenery and stuff around here, so that it doesn't like look too weird, if that makes sense, because we are kind of like at the edge of the lot. But yeah, being a cabin crew must be insane. Like, you get to travel a lot. I don't know how you do it though, because I'm fine with planes, don't get me wrong, but I feel like doing it every single day, or at least like most of the times of the week, would be crazy. I heard like you guys sometimes get like free stays at like hotels and stuff, which is pretty cool. I don't know if that's true, but based off of like online information and stuff. Should we add some fake stairs in here? What do you guys think? Just to make it look a little bit more interesting. Also, I'm gonna extend. I have to extend this out a little bit, and this one as well, because we're gonna add some very nice seating right beneath here. It's gonna look super luxurious, as always. You know, I don't know if I want these columns all over the place. They look very like rustic and wooden and stuff. And you know what, I've also been contemplating if I want to put this build on a foundation. If you guys want that, let me know. I think it can add a bit of elevation to the build. That's not bad, like little foundation I have, but it's not really present in the real life home. But once again, it's not like real life, like it's gonna look a little bit flat in the game. My mother's side, that is so cool. I love how your entire family is like super diverse, so you get to like dive into a bunch of different cultures, which I think is really cool. It just makes life a little bit more, I was about to sound emotional there, like, well, life worth living. I mean it in a sense as in like, it's really cool that you get to have the chance to like explore those type of like endpoints, if that makes sense, and you're kind of like connected to that as well. It's way better than just like being like really like just like being from like one location, like mum and dad and stuff. Definitely just like is a nicer way to explore cultures. But yeah, so wait, let me do the stairs real quick, because I know a lot of people actually like the pool stairs, even though they're not functional. Obviously the swimming pool itself is going to be functional. Just the stairs itself, they're not going to be able to like go down it, if that makes sense, because it's not on real stairs. So we're going to be using the Dream Home Decorator modular coffee table units, which are pretty much one of my go-tos and is one of my go-to game packs. So if you guys definitely need the Dream Home Decorator game pack if you guys ever download my build, because it's pretty much one of my go-tos for the build in general. I mean, I don't know how the game survived long enough without Dream Home Decorator. We pretty much have everything in this within this game pack in particular. And you can also turn and like modularize all of the unit pieces and stuff from this game pack that you can't really do with the rest of the other objects that come in like other game packs and stuff. I'm getting a little bit tired, guys, so I do apologize if I'm not thinking on the spot too quickly, but also trying to make sure that the build is coming along, because I do love to talk a little bit without doing anything. Hold on. I keep pressing escape a little bit too much and it's just showing that screen, so I do apologize if that's showing up a little too much as well. But yeah, just gonna line these up together, and because they all move at once, we could just move it together and just place it right beneath, and we just repeat the process until we have a very luxurious looking swimming pool stairs ladder type of situation. And of course, if you guys are going to be using or creating any pools in your builds, make sure to change the walls and the flooring, because I promise you it makes such a huge difference when you change the wallpapers and the floorings. See, that's another thing that happens if this does actually end up happening to you guys. I mean, look, every single time you change the wallpaper, it just keeps going down, which is, it's so dumb. I don't know how this game works like that, but like, change your walls and flooring, because it definitely is very helpful when it comes to like making the build look as detailed as possible. I'm going to be doing the stairs right now. I mean I keep calling it stairs and that I keep mixing up. It's a freaking stairs. Okay, it's a stairs. I'll end up changing the wallpaper later on, and if it does end up glitching out, I just pretty much redo it. But I imagine that people who download the build, they're not going to be changing the wallpaper or like the flooring of the swimming pool itself, you know, so it's not really that big of a deal for once people download it. So yeah, it's just something to take into consideration if you guys do end up editing anything within my build when it has like a port and stuff. I think for the exterior of the, never mind, you can't even change the exterior of the wall. I swear you could change the exterior of the wall for the pool, but you can't for some reason. Let me see what the chat's saying. Oh, that's so great, Urban Guy. I think you should definitely get back into building. It's really fun. I know you mentioned you stocks, but you should like find a build that you're interested in, or even like your own home in real life, and just like try to recreate it in The Sims. I feel like it'll be a really fun little project. I like being mixed, but it was hard growing up as a kid. Yeah, especially in. Actually, let me not say especially in, but like, obviously because I don't know, but so I can't speak on experience, but like, I can 100% understand that. Personally, in the UK, I'm really thankful to say that like in the UK we don't. There obviously exists everywhere in the world, like hatred and whatever, but I feel like in the UK we genuinely, because our schools are so mixed, I've personally never had any. I've never had or experienced any issues, which is so good, because it just means that I don't have to like experience any of that, whether it was happening to me or someone else. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately it just happens, and it just is what it is, you know. Like, I wish it didn't, and there's obviously a lot of advocacy going on for like being against it and stuff, but it just happened. I mean, I feel like it's definitely a lot better now though, nowadays. Oh, I completely forgot to add columns. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that. But I mean, we can't really change the past, can we? So. Oh wait, I did it on accident, but that's pretty cool. Having like the two columns side by side. But I think we're still gonna keep with the column. You know what? It looks a bit weird when we have these really bright ones over here and then these super dark ones over here. Should we just change them? It still has a brick texture on it, and it low-key matches with the rest of the brick that we have along the walls. So it's kind of like a nice little win-win. You know what, once we add a bit of solar panels to these walls and a few more what are these called again, the fireplaces, no, the chimneys. There we go. I keep calling these fireplaces. These aren't fireplaces, bro. These are chimneys. There we go. That's gonna look very nice over here. Let's add a few of these. Should we add it over here? It's gonna be a bit weird though, because it's like a little. Actually, is that fine? In the real life one, they have like 20 on this on this little one, and we only have 2. No, they have like 1, 2, 3. They have like 10 on this like little area. It's crazy. The skills are never the same when it comes to like real life homes, but it is what it is, you know. We're doing our best out here, you know. Do we like them merged, or do we like it when there's like a little gap in between? What's always frustrating to me is both sides can be toxic. Yeah, exactly, 100%. But both, yeah. Some Portuguese. Yeah, exactly, 100%. That's how everyone should be. Always just welcoming everybody. Just being super chill with anybody and just like minding their own business, you know. No need to create hatred. Like, there's enough hatred in life in itself. Like, you don't need to add any more into it, you know. I'm just speaking about like in general, not you guys. If you guys mistaken what I just said, like I'm just trying to say like there's enough hatred in the world in general. I think I'm just gonna add a few of these solar panels over here. And I think it just makes a little bit more sense to add it on one side, right? Like, you don't add solar panels on the front and back of the home, like, right? That's how it works. Otherwise, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, you could technically have some extra ones here and there, but like, let's say for example, I would only add like ones that look on this side for like aesthetic purposes. The roof has grown on you? Yeah, I think it looks nice. I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't actually catch which solar panel roofing you were talking about earlier. I'm assuming you were talking about this one, because this one has like solar shingle roof. It's not bad. I like this one, but it looks relatively generic at the moment with this build. I don't know, it looks a little bit flat. Like the lighting looks way more sharper and bright with this one in particular. So that's like the main reason why I ended up selecting this one. Honestly, I personally like this roof. I think it looks pretty cool. Like I wasn't really sure about it either, but it has grown on me as well. But you know what, eventually if I actually end up changing it, I might actually change it. Like if like I wake up the next day and like I end up like working back on it and I realize that it doesn't look good, I end up changing it. We'll see. I also want to add a few of these small windows. Okay, wait, I need to actually finish these windows because they're getting really annoying. There's these little tiny windows. Where are they? These ones, there we go. From Get Famous. Wow. But I really like adding these in like these little roof areas because they're not really that visible from the inside, especially since they're on the roof. Oh, we forgot to change that. You know what, here I think we can, to make it seem like we have floor to ceiling glass windows, I'm just gonna add the doors that came from Businesses and Hobbies. These ones, I really love these ones. If you guys have seen my previous builds, at least like the last however many videos I've created in the last month or week or few 6 months, whatever, I've literally always been using these since the actual pack came out. I just really love them. The only thing I don't like about them is when you zoom out, they go like this like plain white color. I know the Sims did this just for optimization, but I really hate it. I feel like it just ruins it because then I have to like tab when I'm like close to it and then zoom far away so that you guys can still see the interior when I'm far away. Does that make sense? Just a little tip if you guys, just a little tip. I don't know why my accent changed when I said that, but it's just a little tip if you guys like taking screenshots from far away from your builds. Where is, okay, wait, I need to finish this part. Should we add these windows over here as well? Oh, they're not gonna fit. Well, low-key, almost, just about. We can just add one in instead. We can now go onto this side because this one this side is a bit worrying. Let's add these. Is that too much? I think that's a little bit too much. To be honest, her home barely has any windows. I'm sorry, but there's literally nothing on there. Like, where is the natural lighting coming from? Oh wait, hold on. I just found she has a few windows over here. And I hate when this happens in The Sims as well. This is so annoying. This happens in most of my builds. Someone said that it was because you use bb.move objects on the cheat, whatever, but it's not, because I didn't use anything for this. I literally just place it and it will just like disappear later on. It's really annoying. But yeah, there's a few windows over here and we're gonna add one of these huge ones on this side. It looks like there's a lot going on, but once we add like the interior furniture pieces as well, it's gonna look very complete. I'm gonna add one of these smaller windows on this side like that, just making it look complete. And over here, you know what, I would really love to incorporate something like this. Hold on. But it looks a bit weird, especially with like that thing that I added. So I think we're gonna go for Does that look like a birdhouse? This is a bit weird. Or does it? You know what? That's actually not that bad because we can turn this into like a swimming pool. Yeah, we're definitely going to turn that into a swimming pool. We're going to turn this into a bathroom. You guys can tell I'm getting tired because I'm just spewing out words. But there's going to be like a little bathroom and we could place the bathtub right here. I think that could be very nice. I like placing all of my bathtubs where the window is. I know that might sound really weird, but I genuinely feel like it makes the build look so, it just makes the interior of the build look so much more luxurious. I know you guys can let me know what you guys think, but obviously I wouldn't want that in real life. I mean, if I lived on like a hill or whatever like these guys do, sure, but for like a real life home obviously it's probably not practical. But I just really love the idea of like the natural lighting and like it just makes the cinematics of my shorts and reels just like really stand out and pop, which is kind of like what I enjoy doing with my build in particular. Just like trying to make them look very luxurious. And that's like another reason why I don't really use a lot of curtains within my builds. I have actually used a lot recently in like some of my more recent builds, but in general I just don't use them a lot because I feel like they just work not that great within modern homes. We definitely need to add a few more windows here. You know what? A normal Sims player would probably be like, what does the interior look like? Let me do it based off of that. But no, I just do it based off of what looks good on the exterior, okay? Like that is what my goal is. I like making my exteriors look as nice as possible. If you guys haven't been able to tell already, we're already spending like 2 hours and we're just on the exterior. But that is like literally what I enjoy doing. I'm not really that great at my interiors. I do my best, but I definitely feel like I do shine with the exteriors. You know what would be really cool if we can incorporate a little box room like this? That could be really cool, especially with like adding some seating here. I really love these floor to ceiling glass windows. I feel like they look really interesting. And I think you can also add a few of these windows here and there. Just like trying to make it feel as bright as possible, and we can add a few of this as well. So this is like a semi-inspired by Kris Jenner's home, not really like a one-to-one replica, which I think people will be fine with. Has the live stream stopped for some reason? Hold on. Let me just double check real quick. It seems to stop. Hello? Sorry, I was just double checking if it was frozen or not, because I used like a little extra thingy for the chat and it looked a bit frozen. Hold on. Okay, yeah, great. Thank you so much, Violet. Appreciate that. Just double checking because I don't want to miss any of you guys' chat, even though, like, you know, it is what it is. But okay, let me. Also, my terrain paint, even though you guys can see me doing it as I am right now, it never stays like this. I never keep these edge pieces really sharp. Sometimes I would if it was like an old build, but in my new builds I never do that anymore. I always like go back and like make it smooth as possible. But right now I'm just like trying to cover it up as much as possible, and then I just like try to shape it later on. I would say the exterior is pretty much done. We just need to add a thingy. You know what, I would actually consider doing another live stream tomorrow if you guys are down to join and stuff, so that we can like move on into the interior and stuff. I don't think I've ever done the interior on a live stream before, which I feel like could be quite fun. Don't like how this wall is really empty, but at the same time it is kind of like under it, so it's not really that big of a deal. And this part is a bit empty as well, but I don't want to add so many windows there. It's like really repetitive. And let me just change this wall as well while I'm at it. Hold on, I need to look at my references. So it's pretty much like a little dark wall. To be fair, it technically looks like it, I'm not even joking, it looks exactly like this wall. So we're just going to use this in a bit more of like a muted color. Obviously we're going to cover this up because it's not really that realistic for The Sims. I'm gonna go off. All right, thank you so much, Violet Pixie Diva. I really do appreciate the support so much. Yeah, I'll be really excited to see you in the next stream as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoy your meal and your dinner. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. Take care, especially for all the time that you spent. Urban Guy, thank you so much. Yeah, for tomorrow's stream we'll figure it out. We'll see how it goes. I definitely feel like it'll be quite fun, especially once I just like release one normal video and then do another one. I never really done that before, but I'm open for a bit of a change on the channel here and there, especially since like it's a bit quiet here and there. Just trying to liven it up as much as possible. I'll probably head out in a few moments as well anyway. Let me just complete this exterior so it's just like easy to work with next. Wait, I haven't actually saved in a while, so let me just do that real quick. But yeah, if you guys do build in The Sims in general, definitely always save it to the gallery like this, like in the library. It doesn't even take up that much space, so, and you can always delete it later on once you like get a complete version of the build. It sucks that we don't have a lot of detailed designs of the homes in general, because then I can't actually like base it off of what is going on in the home, so I kind of just have to improvise here and there. Gonna add a few hedges here. I think will be very nice. I really want to actually use the ones that came from the royalty pack. I feel like that one also at the same time is a little bit too tall for this build, especially since we're going for like a much more like a smaller scale. Kind of want a fountain as well. That'll look pretty nice. And I know I removed this because I wanted to add a foundation, but at the same time I feel like it's not really that necessary. Or should we? I don't even know. Maybe it can help elevate the space a little bit more. I think with my CC it didn't let me save the house to my gallery. Oh really? That's a bit strange. I don't think that should give you an issue, but if it does, that's a bit wild. I've never heard of that before. I hate with all of like the weird CC issues recently and lately and stuff, like it's a bit weird. Why the hell does that not work? Why? Look, see, look, what is this little glitched out line? I know it's from the spandrel probably, but oh, okay, because the wall is placed, because it still technically counts as a wall. Okay, let's move that real quick. I think the foundation is just going to give it a bit more elevation. We're not going to use in any platforms. I just use the platform tool just to like connect it to the home, if that makes sense. And if we don't like how the foundation looks, we can always just raise the terrain so it just gets rid of it. Or like semi covers it up. So obviously around these areas, we're going to use the terrain tool just to like raise it up a little bit. It might look a little bit weird actually with it being like really close towards the edge of the lot, which is going to be quite annoying to deal with. We can always just use this like grayish sort of design towards the bottom so it doesn't look too harsh. I don't know, I just feel like the elevation just makes this build look a little bit more interesting personally. Yeah, 100%. Definitely. Like foundations and platforms just make the home look so much more interesting. I don't really like having stuff on like a flat ground unless it's like it like really makes sense for the build, you know. Go. And now all I need to do is pretty much just like go over all of these flooring areas and pretty much just like raise them up. Bit of a tedious task, but gotta do what we have to do to make the home look as nice as possible. Great, now we have to do it on this part. And we're not going to use foundations throughout the entire build, only in like these little indoor outdoor experiences and stuff, just to make it feel a little bit more easier to like walk around them. But like areas like this, like little empty area over here, I'm going to leave them empty. They don't need foundations. And I know this probably isn't like one-to-one when it comes to like the home, but we have to improvise here and there, you know, can't just copy it exactly, otherwise it's not going to look that great in The Sims. I completely forgot that we did the stairs in the pool, so can't really move the pool much. I mean, we can, but it's a bit risky, you know. Okay. Now let's see what we can do with this build. I need to look at one of my other pictures. Right, I'm gonna add a few hedge pieces here and there. I'll probably just like call it a day because it is getting a little bit late for me as well. I'm gonna add hedge pieces instead of lining them all the way towards the edge of the wall. I think it will be kind of cool to just leave a little bit of a gap. And I'll obviously go back and refine this here and there later on as well. And I like that since we have this like empty space here, even though it's not on the lot, it's still technically accessible, you know, so it still counts as like a backyard type of thing. So if you really wanted to, you can use like the tool mod and place functional objects on this area of the lot and it will still be completely functional. Like it is a pretty nice little space to work within. You know what, I can imagine a little window being over here, so let me just grab that real quick, place that. I think I can add a few of these little windows here as well. These businesses and hobbies windows are so useful, these little tiny ones. Like they definitely do help with like these little areas where you're just like, you don't know if you want to place a window or not. Definitely do come in handy. I think this is going to be like a little hallway area technically, yeah, this one. So there's not really much to do with it. We could add we could add this. I mean, there's a lot of floor to ceiling glass wall happening around the build right now, but I don't mind it. Looks pretty cool. Kind of just like modernizing the home, to be honest. But yeah, I want some nice little functional spaces here and there. Now for the walls and like the actual fencing piece itself, I don't know, because I don't want to use like a really big wall or like a fence piece that's going to look really random or out of place. Like something like this is just going to look so odd, you know, like I hate that. And it's just going to cover up the beauty of this home. So I'm thinking we could just use a lot of these hedges all the way around. It might look a little bit repetitive, but it's going to look way better than just like having what's it called, having like these huge fence pieces all around. I mean, you guys can let me know what you guys think, but personally I think it looks a lot better with just like hedge pieces and stuff like that. You know what, come to think of it, we could just get rid of this little random piece over here, get rid of that as well. We could compartmentalize it a little bit by using stuff like this. Let's connect it, why not? I was thinking if I should connect it to the home, but I mean, it's not really. Actually, wait, you know what? Let's not connect it. There you go. Because then we just get to save that like foundation space. Let's do the same for this area. Yeah, I feel like the glass definitely did look a little bit interesting there. It's definitely not like it is in real life home, but we're modernizing it, you know? Don't need to make the fence piece go all the way around. I don't think it's that necessary. Like, it doesn't need to connect. Like, it just be, there's a little gap there, it's fine. It's not a big of a deal. Then we just need to, oh, it just changed the, let's add that as well. You know what, I feel like that's not going to cut it. We need to make like a grand walkway like that. I think that looks a lot more interesting. And I feel like I've actually had some people complain about how like sometimes the front door might be like a little bit too far away from the lot, like the front area of the lot. So I feel like that's something that you have to really take into consideration when you're building for other people, because then people are just like, oh, it takes me so long for like XYZ to go out and do this and stuff. So I'm just like, okay, I need to take that into note and like make sure it actually works and is functional. Because once again, even though I am recreating a real life home, I still need to make sure that it still works within the Sims and like for the players. But yeah, I think this hedge is definitely the clean approach for the fencing. Yeah, that'll be a nightmare, honestly. You know what though, someone commented on my Kylie Jenner home recently on YouTube saying how like they were like the project manager of that home, and they were saying how like a lot of people who redo this home on like different softwares or whatever, I'm guessing they do it in like a wrong way because they assume that the underground has like so much of like this and that, but it actually doesn't have anything. I don't know if that person is a real project manager for that actual home, but it does actually make me think like, you know, she probably doesn't have that much space in that underground area. Like, we don't know. Nobody knows, to be honest, but there's been a lot of like articles and stuff saying how like, oh, she has like a bunker and whatever there, and pretty cool if she does. It's a bit excessive, but I mean, it's her house. What can I say? I know the hedge thing right now, like stacked all together, might look a little bit too much, but I promise it's definitely going to work out very nicely in the long run, especially once we add a few gaps and stuff here and there. And we're also going to add a few like walls and stuff, like debug walls around like the edges, so it's not going to stay plain like this. I mean, I would never keep it just like plain like this. It doesn't look bad, but it's not my type of design, you know, so we're going to change it up. But right now, just like getting a general shape down is the most crucial thing. What the hell was that? I swear I placed one in. I guess I didn't. I placed one in between here, but I didn't. No, I did there though. Okay. I don't really want any more hedges around here, to be honest. It's a really odd looking garage area, but there's not much that I could do. We can add a little fake garage entranceway. At least we could try to incorporate some of that. Alright, it accidentally snapped onto the foundation. Let me just move it real quick. There we go. Okay. And I'm just going to move it over because I don't really want this door to be functional. It's going to probably be just like a little activities type of like functional room where I'm just going to add a few functional tabletops and stuff like that, like the florist table from like the seasons expansion pack and some extra stuff like some workshops and whatever. And I can also turn it into like a gym if I wanted to, but for now I'm just going to keep it as a really basic looking driveway on the exterior. And this is pretty much how I do my driveways, in case you guys are wondering. I find it super helpful that we can just like adjust these however we want. And half the lower level of the house appears to be a garage for low cars, panic rooms, likely located close to the main room. Yeah, exactly, potentially. I mean, she didn't actually show any of the interior, which is quite smart on her end. I mean, I probably wouldn't have showed anyone either. You would probably be a very high target. I mean, it's so sad that I have to even say that, but it is the case in our world currently. Like, I hate that people just can't be happy with what they own, you know? Like the fact that you need to have something like that, or like even taking into consideration, is crazy, you know? But I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, circling back to your first comment, that would be so funny. Imagine being the architect and they just can't decide on a single wallpaper. That would be so funny. But they probably have like, they have so many people that they work with that like it just gets changed down to someone else. I think it's not like, I think they just sit down and just talk with someone and like they just figure it out, you know? You know what, I said I wanted to leave a gap here, but since I'm also just like adding it over here, I might just connect it. Thinking of adding fountains here, but I think it's going to be a bit too ridiculous. This home doesn't look like the type to be like very glamorous on the exterior. I mean, we'll make it very fancy on the interior, but for the exterior I feel like it's not really that fancy. Hold on, wait, let me just add a few privacy bushes over here as well. Are those floating? No, they're not. Sometimes when you place it next to foundations or terrain, it's just really annoying. Yeah, imagine all our kids just like, yeah, I can imagine that being very annoying. engineering is really cool. I heard a lot of people engineering is not really that easy, so kudos to you for being able to complete it. But yeah, you must be able to, like, there's so many really cool games that actually like feature engineering type of like things, if that makes sense. So I'm sure you probably get like a lot of enjoyment out of them. I feel like I can definitely see like why you enjoy The Sims in that case. Yeah, I think it could be really cool to just like have a nice little seating area over here, like sun lounges. I'm just using this as like a reference for now. So if we do end up streaming tomorrow, if I do plan on doing that, if my main channel video doesn't like get up late, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes tomorrow, but just adding these for now and just like show you guys a bit of a reference of what's going on. Not bad. I mean, it's okay, fine. But I think I'm gonna slowly end it here for now, because we have done quite a lot today and I'm really happy with the progress. Just add a few trees here and there. But yeah, I'm super happy with that. I think it looks amazing. Like, it definitely does remind me of like a very luxurious grand home. And I love the color styles of it. Like, it is so monochromatic, it's so dark, it's very like masculine energy, but it's so perfect. Like, I really love this type of build so much. Oh, you're still here? I'm what's up. Thank you so much for tuning into the stream. I really do appreciate all of you guys who have stuck around towards the end. Like, genuinely, thank you so much. I hope to see you guys again in one of my next future streams. Hopefully a little bit more lively, a little bit more energetic, and we'll finally move on into the interior. I'll try to stream tomorrow for sure, because I think it will be really fun to just like go around this entire build and just furnish it with you guys, especially since I haven't really furnished the build with you guys ever. I've only just done like exteriors and then just like done the rest of it offline. But yeah, so once again, thank you so much again. I'm going to continue rambling if I keep talking, so thank you so much again to all of you guys who have tuned into this live stream. I can't wait to see you guys in my next one, and I'll see you guys then. So yeah, have a great day and night, day, wherever you guys are, and thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in my next video. I rambled along once again, but yeah, thank you guys, take care.